Okay, let's start recording. Good evening, everyone. My name is Armina Matensian. I am saying that again for those who just joining the recording. We want to make sure we're level set. This is NAMI Tri-Valley Monthly General Meeting. We have a very special topic today. Just before we jump in, introduce our speakers, I would like to say a couple of things about NAMI. We already heard from our president, Marsha McGuinness, summarizing some of the events coming up. So I won't repeat all of those. I just wanted to summarize and let everyone know that next month, July 22nd, we have very special event in person, in public, in Pleasanton Public Library, as well as online. So those who cannot make it, they can call in. We'll definitely record and share it with the community. We have 3 chiefs of police, Pleasanton, Livermore, Dublin. We will be covering a panel with police chiefs, a discussion on local psychiatric crisis response unit. We're all very excited. This is a very unique opportunity. But that said, we're ready to start our session today. We have very special guests. But I would like to remind everyone that NAMI Tri-Valley has been around a while. We're not going anywhere. We're here to support our community in their time of need, especially families. We understand what it is, how difficult it is, and we're here to support every family member. That said, we bring different topics to support. We would like to encourage you to go check us online, namitrivalley.org. One word, namitrivalley.org. It's that simple. All our programs, who we are, what we do, it's all there. And not only that, you can find a place, you can join as a member. We'll be happy to support everyone involved. So we encourage you to check us out. Always give us a call if you have any questions or problem. So, but today, we're going to talk about a very important topic to my heart. When I heard some of our speakers talk, and I told myself, they got to come to NAMI, they got to talk to our community. Be smart. Livermore Valley moms demand action for gun sense in America. Needless to say, given our political situation, and we're not going to get into it, guns is a sensitive topic. We're at NAMI with our loved ones. We cannot have guns around. There's just problem waiting to happen. And our presenters are going to tell us, they're going to get into the topic of prevention as well as the program. I'm not going to talk about the program myself because I'm just as curious to understand, but I would like to take a few minutes to introduce our speakers. For those who are watching later on, I just want to make sure they know who our panelists are. So we have Janie Dobbs as a retired elementary school teacher and a teacher trainer for English language learners of 34 years. She is a local group, a lead for Livermore Valley Moms Demand Action. She is passionate about keeping our communities safe from gun violence. The second speaker we have is Anne Materis Everton as a volunteer of Livermore Valley Moms Demand Action. Also as a parent and a retired middle high school social studies teacher. She strongly believes in Be Smart, safe firearm storage program, which is co-leads in the moms group with Cynthia Shan, which brings me to Cynthia Shan. She is the founder and president of Corporate Games, an internationally recognized team building company based in Pleasanton. She has been an active member of Livermore Valley Moms Demand Action since 2019 and is the co-lead for their Be Smart program. She has given presentations on this topic to many schools and local organizations, helped to encourage our local cities to pass safe storage ordinances and work with Livermore Police Department to educate citizens about safe storage and red flag laws. So with that, I am just like all of us here, excited to hear about the program, anything we can learn and answer questions. And at the end, if we have time, we will bring in a little discussion about the Keep Hope Alive Collaborative is where I met the ladies, and Marcia, our president, may say a little bit about that. So without further ado, I turn the floor to Cynthia Shan, or whoever is going to take over.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and start really quickly,
Sure.
if that's okay. And I don't know if
Absolutely.
the screen has been shared with me yet for the PowerPoint.
Try to share. I think it should be.
Okay, can everybody see it?
Not yet.
Oh, then I'm not. Okay. Okay, can you see it now?
It's coming up. Yes, yes. It's coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to say a few words before the experts get started. They do the presentations, and we have a third person with us today, Caitlin Toretto. She is also a key person in all of our presentations with Be Smart. But before we start about Be Smart, I wanted to kind of give everybody a sense of where this program comes from and how it evolved. I am the local group lead for Livermore Valley Moms Demand Action. And this is a nonpartisan group, and we have a chapter in every single state. And within those chapters, we have hundreds of other different local groups. We actually are the largest gun violence prevention organization in America with over 11 million supporters. And in a nutshell, we advocate for public safety measures to protect people from gun violence in all of its forms. We fight for stronger gun laws. We work to close loopholes that jeopardize the safety of families. We're strong supporters of secure storage of firearms and red flag laws. And you may know that red flag laws allow family members and law enforcement to petition the court to temporarily remove firearms from individuals that are deemed a danger to themselves or others. So we also work to elect candidates who support gun safety measures, and we support gun violence survivors and work to provide resources and support to those affected by gun violence. And we are so grateful that you've allowed us to come and speak this evening about the Be Smart campaign. It's an educational program that was launched in May of 2015. And of course, to promote secure storage of firearms, to protect our children from unsupervised access to guns, to reduce the risk of child and teen suicide, to curb shootings on school grounds, and to stop unintentional shootings. So our goal really is to engage with a variety of community partners so that we can spread the Be Smart message. We are always available to give presentations in person or via Zoom. And we also welcome any opportunities to table at community events and meetings, etc. We know that working together with groups like Tri-Valley NAMI, we will have a greater impact with our shared goals of saving lives and public safety. So we want to continue our relationship with your group and are happy to come to the wonderful events you put on, and we're available to speak anytime or to also table. So, of course, Caitlin, Toretto, Cynthia Shan, and Everton are our Be Smart experts. They have given countless presentations to a myriad of different groups at the schools, at PTAs, at community service organizations, law enforcement, city officials, the medical community, and more. So we're always looking for other people to do outreach with, because we feel like this is such an important message. And with that, I do want to just turn it over to Cynthia, because she's going to get us started.
Thanks, Janie. I'm Cynthia, and I'm a very long time Tri-Valley resident. And aside from being a business owner, I'm a mom and grandmother. And like all of you, I am deeply saddened by the shootings that have taken place across our country, especially at our schools. And I'm here to talk about what we can all do to reduce child gun deaths. It's called Be Smart. Let's face it, we do have a gun culture in America. In fact, did you know that the United States represents 4% of the world's population, yet we own over 40% of the world's guns? And every week, more than 800 Americans die from gun violence. The leading cause of death among children, teens, and young adults used to be car accidents for many years. It is now guns. As this slide shows, nearly 1,800 American children under the age of 18 are killed with guns every year. That's 5 children every day. And when American children are killed with guns, the majority of those deaths, 54%, are homicides. That's nearly 1,000 children per year. Additionally, 700 children die by firearm suicide each year, and nearly 100 are unintentionally shot and killed. Very unfortunately, children in the United States are actually 11 times more likely to die from gun violence than children in all other developed nations. Not twice as likely, 11 times. That's huge. We know that approximately 5.4 million US children live in a household with at least one loaded, unlocked gun. This is an increase of 800,000 homes as a result of the surge in gun sales during the COVID-19 pandemic. While school shootings and mass shootings always make national headlines, for children under the age of 13, where do you think the vast majority of gun homicides occur? Do you have any idea? That's right. Most frequently, they occur at their own home. Home is where 90% of unintentional shooting deaths and injuries among children occur. Home is where 76% of school shooters under the age of 18 obtained their guns. So we're here today to talk about what all of us, gun owners and non-gun owners alike, can do to make sure children don't have access to guns. Our ability to own guns is an emotional issue, and we know that most gun owners want to be safe, responsible owners, but no matter what your politics, I think we agree on these 3 things. We all want kids to grow up happy and healthy. We each have the right to make responsible decisions about how to protect our homes, families, and communities, including whether or not to have a gun in our home. And 3, if we can prevent even one child gun death or injury, it's our responsibility to do so. I want to take a few minutes to talk specifically about the consequences of unsecured guns in our community. Because of excellent gun laws, California actually has one of the lowest rates of firearm mortality in this country, ranking 44th out of 50. But on this slide, you'll see headlines from tragic incidents that occurred due to a child's ability to access unsecured guns, even here. In the upper left from USA Today, a 3-year-old accidentally shot her 1-year-old sister with an unsecured handgun at their home in San Diego. The police had received a call at 7:30 a.m. The 1-year-old was taken to the hospital for a head injury, but was pronounced dead at 8:30 a.m. It was not immediately clear if any parents were in the home at the time of the injury. The next story took place in Butte County, where the body of Amadeus Miller Ramos, only 13 years old, was found dead in a field in Oroville. Police believe 4 youths were in a car and one of them was handling a gun that, quote, went off. He was arrested and held in juvenile detention. On the bottom left is a headline about an 11-year-old girl from Salinas who accidentally shot herself with a gun she found in her home. It was a gun that belonged to her 18-year-old brother and had been illegally modified. Tragically, she died. Our final story is from Sacramento, where a father was arrested after his toddler shot himself with a gun. This was a gun that was easily accessible in their own home. Though his son survived, the father was arrested on illegal storage of a firearm and child endangerment. All 4 of these stories show the fallout of when people get their hands on unsecured guns. No story is quite the same, but all are tragic, especially because they were preventable. But we can all take action in our homes and our communities to keep our kids safe. So even if you don't have a gun in your home, or if you do, and you know that you're already practicing secure gun storage, what can you do right now? Together we can learn to be smart. And now Anne will start to tell you how. Anne?
Muting. Thank you, Cynthia. It is important to remember that even if you are practicing responsible storage, or if you don't even have a gun in your home, you can't be sure about other homes. You can't be sure about how responsible other people are being. That's where our Be Smart program saves children's lives. Let's start with the S. Secure your guns in homes and vehicles. 13 million households with children contain at least one gun, and the majority of children in gun-owning households actually know where the gun is stored. So what do I mean by securing guns? Guns should be stored locked, unloaded, with ammunition stored separately. A gun should always be stored securely, which means that they are inaccessible to kids and that children are never in the presence of unsecured guns. Remember, hiding a gun is not securing a gun. We know you may have specific questions about what secure storage looks like in practice, so here on the screen are some examples. We also have a handout that you can download at besmartforkids.org/resources or from the link that Janie will post at the end of this presentation. Contrary to popular myth, locking up guns does not prevent owners from readily accessing their guns for self-defense. With a proper storage device, accessing your locked gun and ammunition should take only seconds, and you'll need those few seconds to check whether you actually need to defend yourself to prevent unintentionally shooting someone who is not a threat. The reality is that there are many affordable options for secure gun storage that provide owners with access to guns in a matter of seconds while still preventing access by children and people at increased risk of harming themselves or others. Further, it is possible that unsecured guns may actually increase the likelihood of crime and violence through an increased risk of gun theft. Locking up guns will help to reduce the risk of firearm suicide, unintentional firearm injury, and also to prevent firearm theft. I'm not sure if you knew that at least 2 guns are stolen in America every 15 minutes. It's important to also remember to lock up any guns in cars, too. More than half of stolen guns, more than half of stolen guns are taken from cars. Just putting a gun under a seat or in the glove compartment is not secure storage. There are car gun lock boxes available for purchase at most retail and sporting goods stores. Model responsible behavior. Every law-abiding adult has the right to decide whether or not to have a gun in the home, but you can't rely on curious kids not to find a gun. It is always an adult's responsibility to prevent kids from accessing guns, not a curious child's responsibility. Talk to your kids about gun safety, but remember, that's a precaution, not a guarantee. One study found that young children who go through a week-long gun safety training are just as likely as children with no training to approach or play with a handgun when they find one. Modeling responsible behavior means that smart adults make sure that kids don't have the opportunity to access guns at all. Though you can't control the environment that your child is in all the time, you should teach them not to touch a gun if they come across one, real or pretend, and give them the tools to get out of a dangerous situation and to alert an adult. Modeling good behavior also means that you set a good example for your children. Show them that we don't use guns frivolously. They are serious weapons, not toys. Be good role models and show them how to cope with adversity and anger, not to react by using threats or violence. Guns are not the answer to our problems. We all need to be good role models because our children are watching. We do also have a handout on best practices for talking to children and teens about guns. And again, we'll post that link for you at the end of the presentation. The A stands for ask. Of all the Be Smart recommendations, this is one of the most effective, though also the hardest for most parents. That's why you need to ask about firearms in other homes your child visits. This is not a new concept. Just think about it. As a parent, what are some of the things you normally talk about before allowing your child to be taken care of by someone else, like a nanny or babysitter? What's the difference between that person and a neighbor who is having your child over for a play date? You're trusting them with the safety of your child. If your child had serious allergies or couldn't swim, wouldn't you mention it? Other hazards that you might be concerned about include pets in the home, a pool in the yard, car seats for rides, who will be home for a play date, TV and screen time, including electronics and video games, alcohol access, smoking. Asking about guns in the home should be as natural as asking about any other safety issue, but it can seem awkward at first. So try to make it part of your general safety conversation. You might try asking by way of email or text if you're uncomfortable about it at first. And there's an example on the slide here. One brilliant suggestion we heard from a parent on how to broach the subject is by mentioning what you have or don't have in your own home first. For example, you might say, "At our house, we don't allow kids to swim without an adult. We don't have any pets. And kids definitely do not have access to anything dangerous like guns or alcohol. What about your home? Is there anything we need to know?" With the big increase in gun-owning homes, even here in California, this question, asking about guns, is more important than ever. And now here's Caitlin, who will continue to explain the rest of the Be Smart acronym.
Thank you, Anne, and hi, everyone. I have been a Moms Demand volunteer for the past few years. I got involved after the Uvalde shooting and just thought, enough, and what can I do to help? And I have been involved in the Livermore Valley chapter ever since, and it's an honor to be here to talk to you about this today. I think the R is of particular interest to this organization and the role that it plays in suicide and suicide prevention. So let's talk about the role of recognizing guns in mass shootings and teen suicide, and recognizing when your friend or a loved one is in danger of harming themselves or others. This is what the R in Be Smart stands for. So let's take suicide first. Access to a gun can mean the difference between life and death. On an impulse, you are more likely to kill yourself using a gun than any other form of suicide. For example, there's a much better chance of survival if pills are ingested versus using a gun. Few things are as deadly and instantaneous as a gun. As children get older, you may need to consider taking another look at your storage methods. If you've been using a simple cable lock, as Anne presented before, you may want to think about getting a gun safe. We all know how curious children can be, so as they get older and more resourceful, we need to act accordingly. The National Youth Survey conducted by the CDC showed that 20% of high school students surveyed had seriously considered attempting suicide within the last year. 20%. One study showed that 41% of adolescents in gun-owning households report having easy access to the guns in their home. And I want to reiterate a report that was mentioned earlier, that compared to children who were taught about guns and gun safety to those who had no knowledge of guns, the study found no meaningful difference in the two groups in terms of their experiencing or perpetrating tragic gun incidents. There is no question that responsible firearm storage, where children have no access to guns, directly decreases the risk of child firearm suicide. Can you recognize when someone is a potential danger to themselves or others? An in-depth study of the terrible school shootings that have occurred in our recent past discovered that in 90% of the cases that were behavioral warning signs, and 80% of the shooters actually told peers. But people didn't know what to do with this knowledge or didn't want to be seen as someone who informs on their friend or neighbor, and they did nothing, and people died. Here are some signs to look out for when concerned that a loved one may be suicidal: prolonged sadness and depression, changes in mood or behavior, hopelessness, sleeping too much or too little, withdrawing or isolation, aggression or agitation, increased alcohol or drug use, and talking about killing themselves. In 80% of these incidents, the shooter got the gun from their own home or from a friend. So if you know your loved one is in distress, you must make sure they have no easy access to guns. And you might consider temporarily removing guns from your home. Guns that you possess could immediately be stored temporarily at a number of places, including the local police department, some licensed gun dealers or gun ranges, as well as the home of a friend or family member. You can also temporarily remove guns from your home or the home of another person, and this can be done by using the red flag law, which is also known as a gun violence restraining order, which we have here in California. If ever in doubt about implementing this law to keep a friend or a relative safe, call your local police department and they will advise you depending on your situation. As mentioned, we have handout materials with more information that will be shared at the end of the presentation about how to get help if you do recognize these and other warning signs, and it includes access to the suicide prevention hotline, which you can reach by dialing 988. T stands for tell. You are the power behind being smart. It's important for you to tell your elected officials, you to tell your friends, your school administrators, and anyone who will listen. We can't reach everyone with this message without you. T also stands for taking action. Take action by using the ideas and the tools that we've talked about today. In summary, easy access to guns in the home by children is having a huge impact on the increase in child gun deaths. We can significantly reduce this problem by being smart. That means safe, secure storage, modeling safe gun handling and storage and being a good role model for our kids, asking about access to guns in homes where our children will be spending any amount of time. It only takes seconds for a child to pick up a gun and shoot it. Recognizing and doing something about those who might be at risk of harming others or themselves, and telling others how to be smart, as well as taking action to incorporate these ideas in your own safety talks. Be smart because it will save lives, and the life you save may be your child's or even your own. Thank you. I'll hand it back to Janie.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Again, if you know of anyone who is interested in a presentation like this, we can be contacted here. These are our emails. If you'd like to get more information, you can text SMART to 64433 and learn how you can help. But I'm actually just about ready to put a link in the chat for you as soon as I can stop my share here. Sorry. So again, I know that you're well aware of how important this message is also in the work that you do. And I wanted to open it up to see if anybody had any questions or comments. And again, in the future, just keep us in mind about different ways that we can help spread this message and help you. So I put it in the chat. Hopefully everybody got it.
Yes. Okay, yes, we got it.
Okay.
First of all, thank you all, ladies. We're such a small group. I would like to open for a discussion, and yes, jump in, raise your hand. I see Rosemary raised her hand. Go ahead, Rosemary.
Can you speak a little bit more about the red flag law?
Yeah. Caitlin, did you want to talk about it, or do you want me to talk about it, or
You can go ahead, Janie.
somebody else? It is a law that was put on the books here in California in 2014 after the Isla Vista shooting, when there was a young man who was deeply troubled. The parents kept going to the police and saying they were so worried and they needed help, but the police couldn't do anything. So basically what the red flag law does is it allows law enforcement or family members to intervene. And there is a website that I will look up in just a second, but that walks you through all of the different steps. But you can file this petition in court yourself, or you can go to a police officer and police station and they can file it for you. The person in question or in crisis is afforded due process. They have to be seen in court within a very short amount of time, listening to both sides. The person has the possibility of claiming they are not a danger and present their case. If they are deemed a danger, this court order will only stay in effect for 1 year. And then after that, the parents or the family or whoever started it can go back to court and re-petition if still need be. So a lot of people are very, thank you, Caitlin. A lot of people are very concerned about this, and you will hear gun rights groups say, oh, just anybody off the street can be mad at somebody and say, we can take your gun away just by claiming that you're crazy. And it is not true. And it's really important that we get that message out to more people. So Rosemary, I don't know if that answered all of your questions, or if you have more specific questions about it.
Well, I was just curious. So it's a legal process that you go through to have a court hearing around someone who you think might be a danger to themselves or other and has access to guns, right?
Right.
I wanted to add that obviously it's not a really fast process, but typically when we have talked to our police officers, they say, well, you should call if there's some imminent danger, of course, to the police, and they will assess the situation and how fast action should be taken. But typically, people, they might think that there's something wrong with their loved one and make an inquiry. And so, yes, it is not like an immediate process that some people would like to lead you to believe.
Right. Well,
So
it will.
Essentially to get a restraining order about them having the gun, or what?
It's It's not a restraining order. Again, they call it a it's a violence restraining order. So it is a type of restraining order. It's a little bit different than a restraining order for domestic violence and whatnot. So Cynthia brings up a really good point. If you know they're in imminent danger of hurting themselves, go immediately to the police, and they could take the gun for safekeeping. But I'd have to look up again. I can't remember. Are supposed to, the judge is supposed to hear the case within a week or something after it happens. So they don't have to wait months and years, to be able to have their day in court about it. But it is important, if they're in imminent danger, not to wait around.
But then do they take the gun away from the person or what?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And they also then are on a list that they cannot purchase a gun or bullets. And there's actually in California, if someone knows that they're having mental health issues, they can put themselves on a list to not be able to buy guns. So that, there are a few people that have done that to protect themselves.
So one of the things I know for sure is that if someone's been in a hospital 5150 or have mental illness and have a diagnosis, they cannot carry firearms. My loved one told me that when he was in hospital, he came out, he said he knew his rights, and he was told 5 years he cannot carry a gun. From that point, so it gets evaluated. So not that we ever had a gun, but there is, if you're hospitalized, that's also given.
Right. From the point of suicide, though, it's been shown that, easy access to a gun is the real problem. And so, there was a story actually that we used to talk about in all those clips that I was talking about earlier. And it was about a young man who was 13, and he was very well liked, and nobody really thought there were any issues, right? But for whatever reason, he was having a hard time. And because he had easy access to a gun, it was unsecured in his own home. On a whim, he just had this idea that he needed to end his life. And it's been shown that if he'd even had, another day or even hours to think about it, that could have changed the whole situation. So that's why we're trying to stress safe storage and pass these safe storage ordinances where people must lock their guns up, particularly if there's any children nearby. And, locking doesn't mean that it's in a box in a closet.
Right. And I think it's also important to point out that it isn't necessary to go to the extreme of a gun violence restraining order first. Like if you know that your loved one is in danger, you might even be able to just say, hey, I'm really worried about you. I know with veterans, sometimes veterans will talk to each other and say, hey, we're really worried about you. Because they may not want to give up their gun, but if they can give it to somebody they trust, and make sure it's locked up. So to get it out of the home. And so that would really be my first step. I would just say, hey, I'm really concerned. I know you've been having trouble with depression and whatnot. I'm so concerned about the gun. Would it be okay if I take it and lock it up? Put it under lock and key, so I know that you won't have easy access to it. So I would start there. And then if, the person is not going to respond to that, then, I would go further down the line. And I'm putting a website. It's called One Thing You Can Do. It's all about gun violence restraining orders and the process, and how to petition one, etc. So that's also a really good resource.
So I'm assuming you folks would have a website that explains all the details, what's legal, what's not legal, what's happening. I remember in a social setting, and this is neutral environment. I don't think anyone here believes that there should be a gun in a house, never mind unprotected gun. But I was in a social setting with one of our friends is a hunter. He believes in guns, and he'll tell you all the safety rules and all that. And he was saying, everybody's so like against guns, and most of us don't even understand the law. We just don't want them around, period. Automatic, semi-automatic, whatever level. And he was trying to explain to us that California already has one of the toughest laws, and most people don't understand how well protected this whole thing is. And it's very varies state by state by state. So you folks obviously deal in California. What can you say about some other states?
Well, you're right. Every state has different gun laws. And California does have some of the strictest gun laws on the books in the nation. But that still doesn't stop some suicides and whatnot. So when we hear this story of people like you just don't understand all the laws and you're well protected. We know there's laws on the books, but the problem is not everybody always follows them. I know just by tabling at farmers markets and whatnot, with Be Smart, you'll run across people that'll say, oh, I guess I shouldn't have my gun under the bed because my kids could find it. I mean, yeah, people just do things they shouldn't do. And yes, there are so many responsible gun owners out there, and we appreciate them. And we want them, and actually in our group, we have responsible gun owners because they understand how important it is to make sure that kids don't have easy, unsupervised access to guns. And, so I don't know. Some states, you don't need a permit to go buy a gun. You don't need a permit to carry a gun. Either, concealed carry or just open carry. So it really depends. The same with selling guns. And we could talk for hours about this different gun laws and the different problems that we have with untraceable firearms, the proliferation of those, and illegal guns being funneled into the underground markets and ways that we want to stop that. And we need laws on the books in order to get the bad guys that are doing these kinds of things. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
Wow. It's interesting. If somebody lives in a state that has no permit, no laws containing, and they travel, they just came to California, they're driving, okay? They're not flying. It's up to them to know, right? In California, there's certain rules. They can't just willy-nilly walk into the state without the permit.
They do. I mean, there've been people who were not supposed to get a gun or were too young to get a gun here, and they would go across state lines and get one and just drive one back, right? So it's really unfortunate that we don't have federal laws, that will, just unify the whole package of gun safety sorts of regulations. And I think most of you know that there used to be a ban. It's a nationwide ban on assault weapons that expired and hasn't. Yes, it expired, but there was one once, and now it's pretty much out of control, where people can buy all these things that turn weapons into these automatic firing things, and you can have the AR-15s and so on and so forth, and you can make them. You can make them, which is, I think, one of the most frightening things, right? You can 3D print them or buy kits or whatever. So we're always, we're fighting very hard to try to have common sense laws, and also, but safe storage is like the first line of defense, right? Because, okay, so you get a gun, you're not supposed to have a gun, but you're supposed to, the local ordinance says that you have to have it locked up. So you better, but do people do that? Some people are just ignorant enough to think that a drawer or a locked drawer is fine. Whereas, as you know, because we were all children once, you know where all your parents' stuff is. Because when they weren't there, you would go around the house and looking at things, right? So kids know where all their parents' stuff is. So they shouldn't fool themselves that they've got their gun locked up and it's safe.
And they always want to play with things they're not supposed to.
That's
Don't
right.
touch this, that's the thing to touch. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I remember having a discussion with a friend who had the gun under a bed. And this was in my 20s. We're just, very new to America. And I was in New York State at the time. This is in California. And it's under his bed. It's like, oh, don't worry, you come visit me. I'm protected. I have a gun. I'm like, huh? To me, that's not protection. It's the opposite. And I could not convince him. It's like, listen, if somebody comes with the gun, okay, and you have a gun, the chances of somebody seriously getting hurt is much, much higher. And then we talked about safety and locking up. And he says, oh no, if I need it, by the time I get the lock to open it, it'll be too late. And I agree with him on that, but I said having the gun does not guarantee your safety. So we, at the end, we agreed to disagree. So that's a tough one.
And actually, research shows that a person can still access a gun within seconds if it's locked up, especially with new technology, with just being able to open it with your fingerprint or your eyes, or reading your eyes. I forget what, there's a technical term for it. I can't think of it right
Face
now.
recognition, does the eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
So that's also an excuse that people use. What's really frightening right now is we've been talking about different gun laws. Right now, there is a bill back in Congress to what's called reciprocity, which means that any person from any state, whatever their laws are, they should be able to go to any other state and follow the laws of where they come from. So in other words, somebody from Mississippi, that you can buy an AR-15 at 18 without a permit, etc., that if they're allowed to do that in Mississippi, they should be able to bring it to California and do the same thing. So that is being that is proposed again. And that's one of the things where our organization is working against. So,
wow, the scary part is the population is not divided equally amongst the states, right? We in California have a lot more population, and the chances of things going wrong are much higher versus when you're there in the boondocks alone. And
right.
wow. Do your statistics ever breaks it down by state? All the statistics you show at the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I posted a link that shows that every town has researched that and shows the effect that strong gun laws have on per capita shootings.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm just looking.
So it's working.
What's the link?
It's not down to zero, but it's working.
Oh, thank you for sharing this. I need to ask you a favor. Can you share your presentation with us? And I don't know if you have a page that you can add a page with all these links, so that if somebody looks at this, I'm trying to figure out how we can share this. It should be part of the presentation, like references, key links, or things that people can go to when they're watching the
yeah,
presentation.
let me show you the first link that I put in. Is all of these different resources.
Oh, you do already have it. Thank you.
Okay, so it also gives you, I don't know if you can see this. I know it's kind of small.
Yes.
There's the website for Be Smart for Kids. And I did not mention that all of these different handouts are in English and Spanish. And if you go to the besmartforkids.org, you'll find every single other that's handout and whatnot that's on listed here, but you'll also find videos, little short videos about what SMART stands for. You'll find different graphics and whatnot. So that's all there for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, we will share both the presentation and the recording so that people can view it at their pleasure.
Okay, great.
Okay. But I'll tell you what, we do have a few minutes and I want to actually thank you all very much. I really appreciate your commitment, your enthusiasm and topic, and it's all the volunteers like yourselves, like us, like everyone online here that we make a world a better place. I totally believe that, and even if I had to run in last minute to log in to do this, it's worth it. So we hope that it'll reach to people and it'll make a difference. I would like to turn the floor to Marcia and have her introduce the Keep Hope Alive Collaborative to us. And maybe one day we can bring more of the Keep Hope Alive group of people, but she's on the board and I would like her to say something. Just the fact that honoring, I met you ladies there and you were doing your share. So without the further ado, I turn back to Marcia.
Okay, thank you, Armine. Keep Hope Alive Collaborative is actually we have no board. It's we all equally own this, and it is trying to find creative solutions to prevent suicides in Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton area. And the way this came about, and we're in our third year, by the way, how this came about is I got a call from the Pleasanton police, and an officer who had called me said, there's someone who's leaving messages with us, and she represents the Veterans Affairs at the Palo Alto Health Center. And she wanted to know who would like to start a collaborative around suicide prevention. So I jumped at the chance to connect with her, and it's been one of the best connections I've ever had. And we instantly hit it off. We knew what we were both looking for, so our thinking was very parallel. Um, and we also love eating lunch out. So we had the perfect match. And the VA basically was asked under the Biden administration to be able to take suicide prevention beyond the veterans services and go into the communities and integrate the veterans suicide integrate into suicide prevention at a wider, broader spectrum, so that it included everyone in a particular geographic area. So Alameda County is the northernmost county for the Veterans Affairs service area. And, just arbitrarily, the representative chose Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton specifically to start this in Alameda County. And I decided let's do it. Let's let NAMI Tri-Valley work with the VA, and let's make this happen. So we went out and invited people to come. I think we're at 14 or 15. So people, who are these people? Well, I'm going to show you. Let me go to share our flyer that explains, let's see, here we go. Explains a little bit about what we're looking at doing. So all around suicide prevention, intervention is one piece. And I was quoted saying, this is a beginning of what I envision a set of plans, programs, community awareness, education, all on suicide prevention. So we set up goals and we put together a list of things to do. First, tackling data, and which we've done, and to be able to get an idea of what kind of numbers are there out here in Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton around suicides. And it's, compared to other cities, Livermore is kind of in that top third. I do have the numbers and I could dig them up again if anyone wants to know. Anyway, we have recruited from, if you can see the list of different agencies. Let me see if I can scroll down. Alameda County Districts 1 and 4. The Public Health Department is very active. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Access Community Health, Assembly Member Rebecca Bauer-Kahan. Be Smart, yay! You're here in the flesh on Zoom. Okay. CityServe of the Tri-Valley, Crisis Support Services of Alameda County, Genesis Community Development Corporation, Insight Housing, NAMI Alameda County, NAMI Tri-Valley, Pathways to Wellness, PFLAG Tri-Valley, Swords to Plowshares, the VA, and we expect more will join us. So certainly, we will continue on this path. What we decided as a public service to the community is that we're in the process, and I'd say we're about 75% done, putting together a suicide prevention kit. And these will be distributed either in real bags with real stuff in it, or we will set it up as something electronic online. So we're trying to run parallel paths on that. We meet every second Wednesday, and this is at the Pathways to Wellness conference room or on Zoom, so it's hybrid. But I tell you, it's so much better when you're meeting in person. Of course, I always like doing that anyway. And it's our chance to be able to brainstorm and come up with solutions or possible solutions. So we're creative thinkers, and we're just trying to take it step by step. And we're not going, just like NAMI Tri-Valley is not going anywhere. Neither is the Keep Hope Alive Collaborative. It's going to be in its own right an institution. So thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. As you can see, we have some leadership here. She just jumps in and drives any program, and you ladies know her through there, I'm sure. I've attended a couple of meetings. My work doesn't permit me to be in all of the meetings, but incredible effort. And I hope that, by the way, Veterans Affairs, we don't lose them because of the tough times they're going right now, right? But I'm sure they'll find a way. This was a dynamic group, so thank you, Marcia. I think everyone, any more questions, anything from anybody at this point?
I just put something in the chat. I am so sorry that I have to go. We're taking my son and his girlfriend to the airport.
No problem.
They're going on a trip. So anyway, and thank you, Anne. It is everystep.org with a Y. I also put that in the chat. It is a link that will tell you all the different gun violence and by state. It's really awesome. So anyway, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate everything, all that you do, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Janie.
Marcia.
You guys are awesome. And thank you, Caitlin. I did not realize and introduce you. I didn't realize, but I'm so glad you could make it too. So thank you. Thank you, Elle, and for, just talking to me and letting me get here. So thank you all.
Thank you so much.
You have a nice evening. Thank you.
Bye.
We can stop the recording.